Greetings, everybody. Thank you for joining our session today. We're going to go through a little exercise to just get you connected to yourself. And then I'm going to take you through a guided meditation script that I've written. And the theme on this is strength and determination. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take you through what I have called the BOSS method of self-care. So BOSS, as in you are the boss of you. And if you're the boss of anything and you want the project, if you will, to come out okay, there are a number of things you have to do. So hopefully you can do this with me. The B in the BOSS method is 3 parts: be quiet, be still, and breathe. I've come to discover people do not generally like to be quiet or be still, and we're just not good at breathing because we have deconditioned ourselves from doing that. We've been operating in a state of fight or flight for so long that we no longer actually know how to breathe correctly, and we've now learned how to breathe in a very ineffective way. So the B, be quiet, be still, breathe. So just go ahead and start doing that. Be quiet means there's no activity, right? No activity in the mind. Be still, no physical activity other than intentional breathing. Feel the air go in through your nostrils, expand the rib cage, exhale through the mouth. Nice deep breaths. While you continue being quiet, being still and breathing, the O in the BOSS method is observe. So you're just going to kind of turn your eyeballs in towards your brain and observe. You are not judging, you are not criticizing, you are not trying to problem solve, you are simply observing your thoughts, maybe your emotions. Are you in the past? Are you in the future? Just gathering information, observing where your mind is, what it's thinking, feeling, again, without judgment, without trying to figure it out. The first S in the BOSS method is scan. So head to toe, you're going to scan to see if your human is giving you any signs of imbalance, right? We often have physical expressions when we're out of balance, when we are in some degree of distress. So you might detect muscle tension. You might detect perhaps some stomach irritation. You might recognize that your energy is either really low or maybe you're very antsy. You might detect that you've been sick and can't seem to get over it, or that you have a rash that has flared up. Any physical expression of imbalance. These are generally our human's way of trying to get our attention that something is wrong. And ideally, it would prefer if you did something to correct so that it becomes more balanced. So again, to reiterate, the BOSS method, B is be quiet, be still, breathe. The O is observe your thoughts, your emotions, put real labels on them, real words to it. The first S is scan, head to toe, any physical signs of distress, physical signs of imbalance. And then the second S is serve. So now that I've gathered information that my human is trying to tell me, I, Michelle, get to decide how am I going to serve my human. Is there something I can do in the moment that will get it to a better place? Is there maybe a lifestyle habit, a day-to-day activity that I am ready and willing to commit to that will get it to a better place? Maybe there's a really big thing that if I faced it, if I tackled it, if I really gave it my time and attention, I could eventually get to a better place. This is the boss method of self-care, because a lot of times what happens is we go about day-to-day life, we get caught up in the busyness of all of it, we get caught up in all the things that are going on that we need to address, and this one gets neglected. We need to reestablish the connection to your human so that you can figure out what to do to get you to a healthier, happier version of you. So the boss method can be used anytime. You can use this every morning if you want to do a check-in, set yourself for the day. You can use this at the end of the day. You can use this in the moment when you are feeling maybe the anxiety, anxiousness, maybe you're feeling lack of motivation, depression, right? These are all, again, signs that something's not balanced. The only person who can balance you is you. So we first have to have awareness, we have to gather information, and then we got to do some hard work. So use the boss method whenever, every time, all day, every day, whenever you feel could be beneficial. And then of course, there's going to be some work involved, right? If there is something that you are willing and able to do, then you have to do it. Maybe there are things that you know could help. For whatever reason, you're just not willing or able to do it quite yet. That's okay. We can give ourselves a pass. We can give ourselves grace on that, knowing that probably at some point it would be very beneficial to take it on, to figure it out, because nothing changes if nothing changes. And you are the only person that can make changes in your life. So that's a little preamble to what we're going to go into now. So I'm going to go through a meditative script, a guided imagery script. I write these. I find them to be very helpful for me when I'm in places of confusion or distress or uncertainty. I mean, things that we're faced with every day. And I think when we can hear it and really go through those steps, hopefully by the end of it, you will fully appreciate how strong and resilient you as a human are to tap into those skills and those traits to help us make those changes maybe necessary or face those things that we have not wanted to face that will get us to that better place. So I'm going to take my video off just so there's no distraction, and we will go through this. So this is a rushing river, and the theme is strength and determination. So the description of this one is life is hard. Sometimes it's really hard. But with a solid foundation and focused determination, you can and will find your way around any obstacle life puts in your path. This meditation is a reminder of how strong you are and that you can do hard things. So welcome everybody. As you settle in for this session, I invite you to find a comfortable seated position, not slouching, but not too rigid. Begin to focus on your breathing, gradually allowing each breath to become slower and deeper. Inhale through your nose, feel the oxygen enter the nostrils. Fill up your rib cage as if you're blowing up a beach ball, getting as much oxygen into that rib cage as possible. Exhale through your lips. Feel the air escape. Continue to do this at your own pace. As you are breathing, imagine you're sitting by a roaring river. With each inhale, you are enjoying this fresh air and the powerful force of this river. And with each exhale, begin to expel any negativity that you may have encountered. Perhaps it's worry, maybe fear, anger, irritation. Inhale positive energy, the sound of rushing water, the sunshine on your face, the rustling of trees and a gentle breeze. Exhale negativity and watch it surge down the river. As you continue with this rhythmic breathing, bring awareness to your muscles, tuning in to any that are holding on to tension. With each exhale, deliberately release the muscle tension. Visualize the energy departing the muscle, moving through your skin and exiting your body. As you scan your body, let go of tightness wherever you find it. And if you find your mind wandering back to the events of the day or to the worries of tomorrow, draw your attention back to your breath and body. Negativity, fear, worry, anger, frustration, anxiety, while all totally normal, are generally holding us back from living our healthiest, happiest lives. These emotions can lock us up, often burning our precious energy for little or no benefit. Be intentional and connect your physical being with your emotional state. Take this opportunity to reset the mind and the body. You are enjoying this time sitting beside this powerful force. And with each breath, you tune into the sights and sounds around you. From your vantage point, you see tree branches swaying in the breeze, leaves floating downstream, sparkles dancing off the various rocks in the water. You hear birds singing, the water swirling. You are quite comfortable on a solid rock next to this river, partially shaded by all the beautiful trees along the shoreline. Although there's plenty of movement around you, you feel quite sturdy and safe. With each breath you take, you tune into these sensations a little more, feeling relaxed but strong. When your mind wanders, and it most likely will, acknowledge the thought or emotion, and then kindly coax your awareness back to the river, the breath, the sound of that water rushing by, that feeling of strength and confidence. If you are generating any negative thoughts, feelings, or emotions, acknowledge them with curiosity, not judgment. These thoughts, feelings, and emotions are likely a symptom of an unresolved situation or a worry you have not yet dealt with. Make note and then gently redirect your focus to your solid rock and the strength and beauty around you. As you have been sitting for a while now, you decide to wander downstream a bit. You come to a spot in the river that is rather tumultuous. The water level is high, and it is furiously swirling around many rocks. Leaves and branches have gotten caught up, unable to continue the journey downstream. It appears to you that they are all in a chaotic fight, working hard to get past these obstacles, but the rocks are difficult to overcome. You recognize this feeling. Perhaps you've had a similar experience, or even in that experience right now. Something is standing in the way of a goal you're trying to reach, an accomplishment you are seeking to complete, a difficult situation you're working to conquer. I'm going to leave you in quiet contemplation as you evaluate your feelings and circumstances. Be patient with these thoughts. Be kind. Seek understanding, not judgment. Seek solutions, not excuses. Seek alternative explanations, not criticism. If you do find yourself in judgment, with excuse, or being critical, gently guide your mind back to the sense of safety and confidence you felt while seated on your solid rock. Return to your breath, tune into your muscles, release any tension that you find. Take a few moments for you to reflect on all of this. And when we come back, we'll continue on. Now that you've had this time to reflect, to ponder, to evaluate, it's time to take notice once again of your surroundings. You see that the leaves and branches that had piled up around the rocks are all gone. They've broken free and are gradually making their way down the river. The water is still forceful, but they glide along peacefully, effortlessly on the way to their destination ahead. You feel this same sense of release. You have a clear picture of what has been holding you back and even more importantly, of what you need to do to move forward. Much like the momentum of the current eventually allowed the chaos to loosen up, the momentum of your mind shift is inspiring you to take the steps necessary to overcome this obstacle. You feel strong and confident in your ability to navigate the challenge, knowing you have all the tools and skills necessary. With this sense of confidence, you continue wandering along the shoreline, head high, filling your lungs with air even more powerfully than you had before. You enjoy this stronger version of you and decide to move through each and every day in much the same way. No longer will you judge or criticize, and rather than excuses, you will seek to understand and then find solutions. You know, much like those leaves and branches that likely found themselves up against more rocks along their journey, you will face obstacles along yours. But with this new sense of determination, you know any obstacle can be overcome. You like this feeling so much, you come up with your own personal mantra that defines how you're feeling. It is one that reminds you of your strength, your knowledge, your determination to grow and move forward. What is your mantra? What words define you? If you find yourself in moments of doubt, judgment, criticism, or excuse, this message will be there to turn it around and guide you forward. Say this mantra in your mind. Feel this mantra in your body. See this mantra in your spirit. It is now time to head back. You've enjoyed the walk along the river and are feeling renewed and invigorated. While you recognize you will continue to encounter challenges in life, your sense of confidence and control leaves you feeling calm and free. And you can have this feeling anytime you wish. In the next few breaths, begin to wiggle your fingers, maybe your toes. Shrug your shoulders and open your eyes. And with our final moments together today, I leave you with this. As you continue this day, should you find your mind drift back to thoughts, feelings, or emotions that are draining your energy or stifling your progress, take a few deep breaths, repeat your mantra, remind yourself of your strength, reset, refocus, and move forward in health and happiness. All right, everybody, that is it for the guided imagery. We have some time. If anyone has questions, thoughts, comments, ideas, feel free either put it in the chat, or if you want to come off mute, you can do that as well. I'd love to know if you came up with a mantra for yourself. I find them to be very helpful. I have a couple of different ones depending on the nature of the situation. I have a few go-tos that are just good reminders. One of them actually painted it on a canvas and it hangs on right there, right at my hallway. And I painted this probably 20 years ago. It's a line from an Indigo Girls song. I don't know if any of you are my age, but you might remember the Indigo Girls. And the line is, "It's only life after all." Anytime I get into woe is me, it's not fair, why me, I didn't deserve this, I just remember that this is life. It's only life after all. And it doesn't dismiss my feelings about certain things, but I can acknowledge those feelings and then I can choose to not stew in them. It's very easy to stew in them. And we know that that just keeps you stuck and prevents you from moving forward. Um, Aaron, excellent question. What do we think about having people clear their energies before meditation? I think it's very helpful. That's why I went through the boss method. For me, that is a way to kind of maybe not clear my energy, but just know where my energy is so that I can then figure out what to do with it. There are lots of ways to clear energy. I think it's helpful for everybody to come up with the way that they can do on their own for themselves. For a lot of people, they have no idea what that even means. And so anytime you can introduce any kind of skill that you can take care of on your own, I think that's super helpful. I have lots of people in my universe who, do rituals and energy clearing practices. And, part of it is you have to buy into it. You have to believe that actually does anything. And that goes for all of this. If you don't believe that any of this even works or matters, then you can listen to all the guided meditations you want. It's not going to change a thing, right? It only changes because you believe in it. And then you're the one that strengthens the skills and decides to utilize these practices when you recognize that they could be very helpful. And, one of the easiest ways to clear your energy is to just sit quietly and breathe, right? That's why I start with the boss method, which is be quiet, be still, breathe. That's the B of BOSS. Be quiet, be still, and breathe. And most of us are too busy to be quiet and be still, right? And we don't like being quiet and being still because it's uncomfortable, because we might recognize and hear or feel some things that we don't like. So if we're just busy, then we don't feel them or hear them because we're busy. And yet, the only way you learn anything is if you're quiet and you are still and you learn to observe and gather information. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Did anybody come up with a mantra? Curious what ones are helpful for you. If you haven't, that's your homework to think about it, because it's very easy for us to go into that, negative mindset space, whether it's stuff of the past, woulda, coulda, shoulda, guilt, anger, resentment, shame, or it's the stuff of the future, worry, 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 what if, what if, what if. All of that is totally normal. That's where our brains are designed to do. Usually, to some degree, it's helpful. We should visit the past, learn from it, reflect on it, decide what to do. And we should visit the future so we can prepare ourselves or be on alert for potential danger. But the more you are in the past and the future, the less you are in the present. Yes, it is very difficult to be in the present because it's actually not normal, right? Being in the past and the future is rooted in our survival mechanism. It is literally ingrained in our brain mechanics. Generally, for the most part, for most people, it is not necessary and usually not helpful. And that's why mindfulness and learning to be present truly is a skill we have to teach ourselves. You don't just become present because you want to become present. You become present because you work really hard on redirecting your thoughts when you recognize that they are in places that aren't helpful. And that's all part of the training of it. So, and even though it's hard, again, like I said in the beginning, you can do hard things. We all can do hard things. And I know for me, changing the mind, number one, it's the hardest thing to change. I also know that unless and until you change your mind, very little else changes. I think this is your mantra. I love that. Thank you for sharing. All is well in my life. I am immensely blessed. That's beautiful. You know, and it has to be one that really resonates with you. That's why I encourage people to really sit with yourself and come up with that thing that means something to you, right? That this sounds like your words. Or if I told someone, oh, Elizabeth told me this, they would say, oh yeah, I can totally see that. That is totally her, right? So I can't give you a mantra. You have to come up with it for yourself. I am enough. Beautiful. Love that. So thank you for sharing those, everybody. Thanks for hopping on today. I think we have another one next quarter, so hopefully I'll get to see you all again. If you found this helpful, we have the recording, so you can go listen to it as many times as you want, share it with others, or come up with your own. You know, you can come up with your own visual, your own imagery, your own story. I mean, I write these because of my stories, my experiences. My experiences are not your experiences. So that could be a very therapeutic thing to do as well, is just to write your own scripts and show how you navigate through difficult things, or, you know, whatever that skill or trait is that you want to develop or hone, or, you know, just build more solidly. You can do that. You just have to do it. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Look forward to seeing you all again. Bye-bye.